There's only one winner, the beast, Tyson Fury, spoken there by, of course, Tyson's father, Gypsy Johnny Fury, and he joins us now. John, I'm going to ask you again, like I asked you at that round table, why are you so convinced? Why were you so convinced that Tyson was going to walk through him?
From the first fight, I thought, you know what? I looked at the fight, watched it 100 times, went all over it, examined it back to front, and I knew that Deontay Wilder could not fight going back, and he didn't like pressure. And you know, when you took it to him, the fight would go out of him, and that's exactly what it did. And he got humiliated and destroyed by a man what was untouchable on the night. Simple as that.
And John, if they fight a third time, because that looks likely, you're a boxing man, John, can Deontay Wilder do anything different, or will it be exactly the same as fight number 2?
To be honest with you, Tyson's being very modest in what he's saying. I don't think he wants to frighten Deontay Wilder by not having a third fight. Tyson's being modest there. Let me tell you something. There won't be a fight next time because he'll just walk through and be easier. Because I'll tell you why. He's mentally destroyed, and I don't think he can come back from a beating like that in just a short time. You know, beatings like that, they stay in you. You never get rid of them. You never get over that. And at the end of the day, I just think that Deontay Wilder next time, he'll just be turned up purely for the paycheck because he knows the outcome. He knows Tyson's too good for him. Tyson's too strong, too big, and he's only getting better and better. And Deontay Wilder, he ain't getting no better. In my book, you've seen the best of him. That was the best he could ever be. He was 16.5 stone. He was as strong as he was going to be, and he looked like, well, he looked like a kid in there, didn't he, against a man. You know, Tyson was just too good in every department. And I don't think Deontay Wilder has got anything to beat Tyson with, to be fair with you. Yeah, he's a big puncher. Anything can happen in boxing. We know that. But Deontay Wilder's too mentally destroyed to even have come close to beating Tyson. That's my honest opinion.
And Tyson, throughout the week in Las Vegas and immediately after the fight, you seem to be talking to your father quite a lot. What was he telling you? What advice, if anything, was John giving to you?
He was telling me just to stay calm. I'd done all the hard work, and it was about history making. It wasn't about making money. It wasn't about winning world titles or putting another 0 on the record. It was about cementing legacies. And I cemented my legacy as the greatest fighter of my era.
Tyson Fury's dad, John Fury, claims that Deontay Wilder is so mentally broken, there's nothing he could do in the third fight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Head over to Patreon right now. Sign up. You don't want to miss a thing. We did a group meeting, Boxingego meeting. Check out that video, and that's where we're going to do some different things like that for the Patreons and channel members. So if you want to be a part of it and get in close with the Eagles Army family, that's a great option. Patreon, link in the description. YouTube channel member, just hit the join button right next to the subscribe button underneath this video. Now, John Fury, he was gloating about his son's work. He says in that clip you guys heard at the beginning that his son is being modest. He says basically Deontay Wilder, I'm just going to paraphrase since you guys heard the actual verbatim clip. He says Deontay Wilder has nothing for his son in a third fight. He says it's a beating. He got beat down. He got humiliated. He got destroyed. And there's nothing that Deontay Wilder can do in the third fight. He said he does not see it whatsoever, one bit, because once you take a beating like that, it stays with you. And he says his son is too big, too strong, and better in every department, and Wilder won't have nothing for that. He says his son was untouchable on that given night. So I want to kind of just give my thoughts. That's John Fury's opinion on what's what. One thing before I start, it's funny that John Fury sounds more like Tyson Fury than Tyson Fury. It's crazy and uncanny how similar their voices are. Like, you can tell exactly where Tyson Fury gets his voice because he sounds identical to his dad. It's the same exact like inflections and everything. But as far as what he says, I disagree 1000%. I think this is boxing. I don't think he's being realistic. You know, his son beat him. People do have questions about that. Some about Tyson Fury's tactics in the first 2 fights with Wilder. We'll leave it at that. I've made videos about him. So that's one kind of asterisk. So with that out the window, that won't happen. Nothing like the glove gate and stuff like that. None of that stuff will go under the radar anymore. So some people have questions if Tyson Fury can beat Deontay Wilder fair and square. So that's one issue. The other issue is he says that with Wilder in the second fight, that's the best he is, and he weighed 230 plus, and he's strong, he's a puncher, anything can happen, but nothing will happen. So that's almost kind of an oxymoron. Wilder, if anybody, is the guy in boxing where he told you himself, he says they got to be perfect for 12 rounds. I only got to be perfect for 1 or 2 seconds. And that's absolutely the truth. He's one punch man. So as long as he's standing and conscious and stuff like that, Wilder's always going to be a threat. I think in the second fight, Wilder, he kind of got caught in a conundrum, if you will, where after the knockdown, he just couldn't get himself into the fight. It looked like he kind of carried some, whatever was wrong with him, it looked like he carried some negative juju or energy into the fight beforehand. He looked kind of out of sorts. And then when he got knocked down, it looked like it did something to his equilibrium or just knocked him all the way off of his game. It's like there's been times where, not boxing, but like just everyday life, where you do something and you spill some coffee on your clothes or something, you spill a drink, and then it seems like that day is problematic, where you just keep having these little mishaps, like you spill coffee on your clothes, then you're running late for work, and then you went all the way out to your car and realized you didn't have your keys. Have you guys ever had a day like that, where it's just, if it wasn't one thing, it was another? It was like almost Murphy's Law. And I think that's kind of what happened. So that being said, he's saying that there's not enough time for Wilder to do anything. Again, Wilder has one punch knockout power. If he did what he did in the first fight, what makes you believe that he's rendered powerless in the second fight, despite losing the second fight? You see what I'm saying? The first fight, Wilder, when Fury was doing okay in boxing and stuff like that, he created 2 pertinent knockdowns. So just because he loses what Fury's saying badly, which I'll get to in a second, now you think he doesn't have knockout power? Like he just won't land any shots? You know, it just, to me, it sounds like he's putting it on too thick and gassing himself up, his son up. Tyson Fury, after he won the second fight, he went over to congratulate Wilder or you know, say good fight or whatever. And he says, you caught me with the punch in the first or second round. And if that had been anyone else, you would have got him because you almost got me. Or he, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he basically he's giving him props. Like, you caught me with the punch and, you know, it woke my game up. It almost got me, almost knocked me out or knocked me down. I felt it. You see what I'm saying? And that was just one punch. So another thing that's kind of misguided that people have, that Fury just went in there and destroyed Wilder. But if you really analyze boxing objectively, not picking sides and all this, the first 2 rounds were competitive. They were a lot more competitive than most people are willing to admit. Similar to the first couple rounds of the first Wilder fight. A lot of people act like Tyson Fury won the first 7-8 rounds of the first fight. Incorrect. You know, even in the second fight, the first 2 rounds, go watch them again, they were competitive. Wilder, I don't think he's the fastest starter like he has been in certain fights, like with Bermain Stavern, but he wasn't, you know, necessarily known as the fastest starter. But I still think the first 2 rounds in this particular fight, he was just thinking. He was totally in the fight. It was literally after the 3rd fight. His legs looked, you could say it looked a little bit stiff even before he got knocked down, but it was really after that knockdown, that's when everything changed. And you know, he could never get his head back in the game, whatever. But for John to act like it's impossible or inconceivable that Wilder can make adjustments, good luck with that. You know, I think Wilder might have people like George Foreman giving him information. They're studying the tapes and things like that. Another thing, John Fury said this ain't enough time for Wilder to mentally bounce back from that. But this pandemic is obviously not a good time for the world. But I do feel the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise for Deontay Wilder for 2 reasons. For one, me personally, I do not trust Tyson Fury to stay on the ball. Tyson Fury is the type of person where a pandemic, any type of riff or, you know, being confined at home or any change of situation could throw Tyson Fury into some type of downward spiral where he stops training as hard. You know, that's might be why he's doing those workout videos every single day, you know, and recording them as maybe to hold himself accountable. I think Tyson Fury is almost one of those people that they have to stay busy, or it's like the saying goes, idle hands is the devil's playground or whatever. I think Tyson Fury is absolutely one of those types of people. Now, he could show you whatever he wants in the morning on the IG workout videos, but who knows what he's doing when the camera isn't rolling. So I think the world being at a standstill, mentally, I don't know how Tyson Fury is during situations like that, because this is unprecedented and unplanned. And Tyson Fury, to me, he's kind of a loose cannon. He's erratic and he does what he wants. He beat Klitschko, and most people would think this was a total high, and like he was out there getting high. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a time where you would feel like he'd be on top of the world in a good way, but his career downward spiraled. We were hearing problems of him and his trainer and family member not getting along in camp. He showed up at the press conference. It looked like he had gained weight, and he was lifting his shirt up, like patting his stomach, you know, and this is after he beat Klitschko. So I'm not really sold on Tyson Fury having the ability to be a straight and arrow for long periods of time, especially with weird stuff like I said, like this pandemic happening and him being confined. It's almost like some people who they work out and get in shape and shed a bunch of pounds, and they're not like health food nuts and diehard gym rats, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they start binge eating and picking up a lot of pounds because they've been eating so clean and disciplined, and they've been so disciplined where they kind of do the Andy Ruiz and they're like, man, I can't deal with this no more, and then they binge eat. So Tyson Fury has different vices that have been publicized through his career, and you know, I'm just saying, I don't trust Tyson Fury to stay away from those things. So that benefits Wilder, the length of time. But beyond that, even if Tyson Fury is staying in tunnel vision and focus, this fight, had it not been for the pandemic, was already supposed to happen or be scheduled for July, I think, by July 30th. So they would have fought in mid-July. That would have hurt Wilder more, because it would have been fighting late November, basically December, against Luis Ortiz too, then fighting in February and losing and getting stopped and losing your belt, and then he would have been coming back again by July. But with this pandemic, that has bought boxing and fighters extra time, and Wilder's been very quiet. He does little subtle drops like the George Floyd presentation that he did, but ultimately he hasn't really been in the public eye as much. So I think that's good. He's spending time with family, keeping a low profile, and who knows what he's working on. So I actually in this situation I like Wilder being quiet, and I just disagree with John Fury totally. He's making it sound like Wilder is mentally broken to the point where he has no chance. The other issue is you got to look at that statement. This is boxing. How many fighters have we seen come back from the depths of hell and peril? Sometimes even in a fight. Sometimes a fighter getting his butt kicked 11 rounds and then he makes magic happen in the 12th round. John Molina versus Mickey Bay, or a fight like that, right? So we've seen it. We've seen it in single solitary fights. So boxing's no different. You know, look at Rocky Balboa movies and stuff. That's just an example. Obviously, that's not a true fight, but we've seen it like recently in the heavyweight division. In my opinion, you can say whatever you want, but this is my opinion. I thought Joshua losing to Andy Ruiz, all things considered, Joshua looked worse to me, because you looked that way against Andy Ruiz, who wasn't even supposed to fight you, and looks like he's 5'10", so he's shorter, short arms, and you knocked him down first, and you got reckless, and then Joshua ended up getting dropped, and he just looked bad, and I thought Joshua quit. Wilder fought a guy who was 6'9" and outweighed him by 50-60 pounds, and also happens to be a good fighter who implemented a totally different game plan, which could have caught Wilder off guard. So that is just a whole different set of rules. Plus, that same fighter got up from his punch in the first fight and gave him a tough fight the first time. So all things considered, and they were training specifically for each other. So all things considered, I feel like Wilder took his L, but he didn't quit. And in addition to him not quitting, he never was knocked out like that. Like, he was still standing. So Tyson Fury, I still think his power per capita is going to be overrated. Tyson Fury was leaning on Wilder and doing all this and that, and he never really Wilder, this is going to sound crazy, but Wilder didn't look hurt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it felt good, but when I'm saying hurt, I'm talking about where a guy is just in, like Broner versus Maidana. Like, Broner was really hurt. He was really hurt. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, there's a difference. There's different severities. Wilder just looked kind of out of sorts and had no legs, and he looked kind of discouraged more than brutally hurt. Like, you look at fights with like Dominic Brazil, like, I mean, when he fought Wilder, he was hurt. He was hurt, So I still think people are doing a bit much, but this is the great thing about it. We're going to ultimately see. We're going to see what's what and who's who in that third fight. It's a big fight. I don't know where they're going to do it. I don't know if it'll be a crowd, but I'm looking forward to it. But like, just using Joshua Ruiz as a reference, Joshua to me looked worse. Joshua quit versus Ruiz. It was a guy with 5 weeks to train for you who didn't even have like a full camp, and he still quit, and still Joshua came back and got his belt back, all things considered. So Wilder having more one-punch knockout power, Wilder knowing he can hurt Tyson Fury just the same. There's a lot of people that want to rewrite history and give Tyson Fury the first two fights, but that's inaccurate. Tyson Fury, out of the first two fights, on paper and true reality, has only won one fight. So the third would be the end-all be-all, so to speak. Unless Wilder wins, then that, could catapult them to a fourth fight. So with that being said, how is it that Joshua can look as poor as he did, but come back and get his belts back from Andy Ruiz when it was seemingly impossible? But you think a guy with the immense, phenomenal knockout power of Wilder, and you think he's just coming to fight for money? To me, it sounds like lunacy what John Fury is saying. He's saying that Wilder is fighting for money. Like, when has Wilder ever seemed like he doesn't stand on his square and stand up for what he believes in? I don't, when I look at fighters, there are guys that are kind of fighting for money, And I can name a few if you want. Like, to me, I think Amir Khan's kind of at the point of his career where he's looking to cash out, looking for big money fights. That's why he said, I only want to fight if there's a crowd and stuff like that. But I never get that sense when it comes to Deontay Wilder. I never really got that sense where his pride meant nothing and his legacy meant nothing, and he was just looking for a paycheck. I just don't get that. So, to each his own. John Fury could believe what he wants. I'm going to believe what I want. We'll see when they fight. Third time. Can't wait. Let me know what you guys think. Also, sign up for ESPN Plus, home of a lot of original content. They got archive fights, UFC, and boxing. If you want to sign up for ESPN Plus, again, there's a ton of content. Link is in the description. You can get it as a standalone app or bundle it. ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps, one price, $12.99 a month. Let me know what you guys think of John Fury's comments. I gave you mine. Drop that in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.